Most doctors will never say this in a 15-minute appointment, but I've seen what happens inside the operating room when seniors don't know about this one muscle. And once you understand what I'm about to share, you will never look at your legs the same way again.
Heavy legs by 3 in the afternoon, ankles that look puffy by evening, waking up at 2 in the morning with a calf cramp that stops you cold, feet that feel cold even when the room is perfectly warm. If any of that sounds familiar, I want you to know something important. You are not imagining it, and it is not just aging. Here's what makes this even more frustrating. You are probably already walking. You are doing what your doctor told you. You are trying. And it is still not enough. That is because the real problem is not your heart. It is not your arteries alone. It is one small group of muscles in your lower legs that has quietly stopped doing its job. And here is what concerns me most as a metabolic health expert who works with patients over 70 every single week.
After 70, when this muscle system fails, blood pours in your lower legs. That pooling causes swelling, nerve damage, and in patients managing diabetes, it creates wounds that simply will not heal. I see the consequences of this every week, and most of it is entirely preventable. My name is Chloe Lin. I specialize in metabolic health and vascular function in older adults. Over years, I have worked alongside surgeons, physical therapists, and rehabilitation specialists to understand what actually restores circulation after 70. Not what sounds good, what works.
And I want to share with you today the one exercise I recommend to patients before they leave care. The movement that costs nothing, requires no equipment, and works even if you have not exercised in years. Walking is wonderful. Please keep walking. But walking relies on momentum. What your legs need after 70 is something entirely different, a deliberate, controlled muscle contraction that walking simply cannot replicate.
In this video, I will walk you through 5 movements, each one building on the last. I will tell you exactly how many repetitions, exactly when during your day to do each one, and what you should feel when it is working correctly. Stay with me, because the final exercise is the one that ties everything together. It is the one I would choose if a patient could only do one thing.
Before we begin, drop a comment right now. Tell me your age, your state, and your biggest leg challenge, heaviness, swelling, or night cramps. I read every single one.
I call this one the hospital bed protocol because this is the first movement surgeons prescribe after leg surgery, sometimes within hours of waking up from the operating room. Not because it's easily, because it works when nothing else is safe enough to try yet.
Here is the science in plain language. Your calf muscles are your body's second heart. Every single time they contract, they physically squeeze blood back up toward your heart. After 70, this pump weakens significantly, especially when you sit for long periods. Ankle pumps restart it, deliberately, without standing, without any fall risk whatsoever. Here is exactly how to do it. Sit in a sturdy chair with both feet flat on the floor. Now lift your toes toward your shins while keeping your heels down. Hold that for 2 seconds. Then press your toes into the floor and lift your heels like you are gently pressing a gas pedal. Hold that for 2 seconds. That is 1 repetition. Do 10 to 15 repetitions 3 times a day. Morning before you get out of bed. Afternoon around 2 or 3 when the heaviness usually starts. Evening before dinner. And here's the detail that makes all the difference.
Do 5 ankle pumps before you stand up from any chair. It wakes the pump up first, so when you rise, blood moves immediately instead of rushing down into your feet all at once. The most common mistake I see is rushing through it. People pump fast like they are nervous. Slow is what moves blood. Fast just moves air.
This wakes your circulation system up. But waking it up is not the same as keeping it running. That is exactly where exercise 4 comes in.
Here's something most people do not realize. When you sit for more than 30 minutes, the large veins in your thighs get compressed against the chair. Blood cannot move up efficiently. Your quadriceps, the muscles along the top of your thigh, are a pump that clears that compression. But research published in the Archives of Physical Medicine and Rehabilitation found something remarkable. Adults over 60 who perform this movement improve walking speed by 28% in just 8 weeks.
Walking speed is what doctors call the 6th vital sign. It predicts falls, hospitalizations, and long-term independence more accurately than most blood tests. Here's how to perform it correctly. Sit tall with your back firmly pressed against the chair. Both feet flat on the floor. Now slowly lift one leg straight out in front of you, keeping the knee as straight as feels comfortable. Hold for 2 to 3 seconds at the top, then lower it slowly. Do not drop it. 10 to 12 repetitions on one leg, then switch. The single detail most people miss is keeping their back against the chair the entire time. The moment you lean forward, your hip flexors take over and your thigh muscle completely disengages. That is where 90% of people lose the benefit. As this gets easier, add a 1 to 2 pound ankle weight. Research consistently shows muscles respond to progressive resistance at any age. Older adults often improve faster because they're starting from a lower baseline.
One more thing. If you wake up with leg cramps at night, weak quadriceps is frequently part of the problem. Strong thighs keep circulation moving even while you sleep. This is where most people stop their routine, and this is a costly mistake because this movement does something the first two cannot. It activates the deep calf veins, the ones that matter most for preventing dangerous blood pooling.
1 in 4 Americans over 65 falls every year. The number one predictor of whether you will fall is not your age and not your medication list. It is calf strength. This movement builds that strength while training your balance system at the exact same time. Stand behind a sturdy chair with your hands resting lightly on the back, feet hip width apart. Now slowly rise onto the balls of your feet. Take 2 full seconds going up. At the top, pause for 3 full seconds. Look straight ahead, not down. Then lower yourself slowly. 3 seconds coming down. That full sequence is 1 repetition. Start with 10. Build toward 20 over several weeks.
That 3-second pause at the top is what separates this from just walking on your toes. It forces your cow pump to stay fully engaged long enough to clear poor blood. Skip the pause and you skip almost all of the benefit. If balance concerns you, stand in the corner, wall on 2 sides, chair in front, 3 contact points, no fall risk.
I want you to try something right now, even while you are watching this. Stand next to your chair. Lift 1 foot just 1 inch off the floor. How long can you hold it?
Research from the National Institute of Aging shows that seniors who can hold this position for 10 seconds are dramatically less likely to fall in the following year, less likely to lose independence, less likely to need assisted living.
Here is why this connects directly to circulation. Every second you stand on one leg, your entire calf, ankle, hip, and core system contracts continuously to keep you upright. That is 15, 20, 30 seconds of sustained muscle pump. Walking never creates this demand because you are only on one leg for a fraction of a second with each step.
Stand next to a counter or a chair back. Shift your weight onto one leg. Lift the other foot 1 to 2 inches off the floor. Hold for 10 to 20 seconds. Breathing normally, eyes will work, then switch sides. 2 sets on each side.
Here is your progression over 3 weeks. Week 1, hand lightly touching the surface for support. Week 2, hand hovering 1 inch above, not touching but ready. Week 3, arms crossed at your chest if it feels safe.
Progress is independence. Every week you improve is a week longer you stay in your own home on your own terms. Everything I've shown you lists of this. If a patient could only do one movement for the rest of their life, this is the one I would choose. Not because it's impressive, because it does everything.
Ankle pumps restart your circulation. Leg extensions clear the upper leg. Heel raises activate the deep calf pump. Single leg holds train your fall prevention system. This movement combines all 4 in one flowing sequence that takes less than 3 minutes. Here is how to perform it. Stand at your chair, hands resting lightly on the back. Rise onto the balls of your feet. Pause 3 seconds at the top. Lower your heels back to the floor. Immediately bend your knees just slightly, as if you are beginning to sit but choosing to stand tall instead. Straighten back up. Pause 1 second. That full sequence is 1 repetition. Start with 8 to 10 repetitions. Move slowly and breathe normally throughout. Here is when to do it during your day. 5 repetitions every morning before your first step out of bed. 8 repetitions after lunch when you have been sitting. 10 repetitions before dinner. Total time under 4 minutes. Total cost 0.
For those of you managing diabetes, and I know many of you are, this movement matters even more than it does for others. Poor circulation combined with blood sugar challenges is exactly how small foot wounds become serious medical situations. This exercise is one of the simplest, most effective ways to keep blood moving to your feet every single day. This is not complicated exercise. This is your body remembering how to work.
5 movements, each one building on the last. Ankle pumps to restart the system, leg extensions to clear the upper leg, heel raises to activate the deep pump, single leg holds to protect your balance, and the circulation reset to bring it all together in 3 minutes. But here's what this is really about. This is about staying in your own home, walking your dog on a Tuesday morning, driving yourself to the grocery store, sitting on the floor with your grandchildren and getting back up without help.
Getting older in America should not mean surrendering your independence piece by piece. These movements are how you quietly fight back every single day. No gym, no prescription, no equipment. Start right now with exercise 5. You're already sitting in the chair watching this. 10 ankle pumps, toes up, heels up, that is all. That is how it begins. Small, consistent, daily. That is what changes everything after 70. Now, I want to hear from you. Which of these 5 exercises are you starting today? And what is your biggest leg challenge right now?
Drop your age and your state in the comments below. I genuinely read all of them. Your comment might help someone else who's dealing with the exact same thing.
If you have a parent, neighbor, or a friend who struggles with heavy legs or ankle swelling, please share this video with them. Not for the numbers, because this information changes quality of life, and too many seniors never find it. Subscribe for more guidance like this. No equipment, no gym, no complicated programs. Just what actually works after 70. Explained clearly and honestly.